Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. Yesterday we started material. We learned about different types of material. By traceability, it's direct material and it's indirect material. Then we talked about the material control cycle because it's an important asset. It costs us a lot of money. So we just try to apply certain controls and that's why it's all the authorization and all the documentation we do. And then comes the recording of the inventory. In terms of quantity as well as in quantity as well as the value we maintain in store people, they maintain the store ledger control account, okay? And at the same time, which is basically called the perpetual inventory system. As you receive the inventory, you are going to record it as you receive it, like you purchase the inventory at a certain price and you then value the inventory. But the problem comes when you issue the inventory. Why we issue the inventory? Because definitely there's a request from the production side because they need material. So definitely we have to issue the material. And at times, in case of finished good inventory, we need to issue the material because we need to sell the inventory. So it has to go out of the stock, okay? So there are three types of stock we discussed yesterday. It is material, then it is work in progress, then it is finished goods. Okay, the problem that arises at the time of the issue of the inventory, since you know that there are inventory items which are the prices are very volatile. Okay, every day the price change, yeah, from apples to bananas, yeah, from our commodity items, the flour and everything, they have got fluctuating prices, okay, even oil prices and all that. So at the time of issue, there will be items in the inventory at different prices. Just like here, I told you on 1st March we received 1000 at 10 and 2nd March we received 511. Now on 4th March, if we want to issue 100 units, now here the problem arises whether we issue on the latest price or on the previous price, the oldest price, or on the average of both, on the average price, right? So, and the price we're going to issue the material, it will have an impact on our profit, yeah? Because we are going to issue the material is going to be a part of the finished good, and when we are going to sell the finished good, and then we are going to report the profit, sales less cost of goods sold. So what cost is going to be will depend upon which method is it, okay? If we are going to issue at the latest price, definitely the cost will be up, and as a result of that the cost will be up, so the profit would be down, yeah, in case of the rising prices, inflation. And same if we are going to issue on the oldest price, the cost will be low and the profit would be up. So whichever valuation method, because of the fluctuation of the prices at the time of the issue, storekeeper may get stuck that which stock to issue at the oldest price or at the latest price, yeah, and that will have an impact on the cost and on the profits as well. So based upon that, we have different inventory valuation methods that I just told you, that issue at the earliest price, which is going to be the first in, first out, the price, we're going to issue the items we received first, or we're going to issue the item we received the last. That is going to be the last in, first out method. And the third method is basically the weighted average method, okay? Not on the latest price nor on the earliest price, but it's going to be a weighted average method. We're going to do the weighted average method in the end, but there are two methods in the weighted average. One is cumulative weighted average and the other one is periodic weighted average. First, we will have a look at FIFO and LIFO methods, right? So we have a question here. As you can see in this question as well, the sample example will be used to illustrate each of these methods. In November, 1000 tons of inventory item 1, 2, 3, 4 were purchased in 3 lots. Yeah, when you purchase in batches and their items from different batches purchased at different prices are there in the inventory. You see here in this example as well, there is fluctuation in the prices. As you can see that there is fluctuation in the prices, 60, 70, and 80. And actually it's case of inflation where the prices are rising from 3rd to 11 till 21. Price came from 60 to 70, it came to 80. So in case of fluctuation of prices, again, we have different methods, and all the methods we will talk about here, we are going to apply that method in this example. Okay, so how to solve it? We're going to make columns like first column would be that of the date. Okay, and then next column would be of purchases, third column would be of issues, and the last column would be of the closing balance or the closing inventory. Just like here we received items, yeah, I told you we received, and then there'll be issue, and then there'll be some closing balance in the end. So just like that, let me go through the example now. In November, 1,000 tons of inventory item 1, 2, 3, 4 were purchased in 3 lots. Okay, perpetual inventory system is recording of the inventory as per the date in a chronological sequence as the transaction occurs. So here we are going to be very careful about the dates happening. See, on third we bought 400 tons at 60. Then after third, there was during the same period 4 material requisitions were completed for 200 tons. That is the material requisition, means the issue. And now we are going to calculate what is going to be the issue price based upon each one of these methods. First, we are going to do for FIFO method here, which is going to be first in, first out. Like the first item, 200 tons, was issued on 5th. We are going to value it on the earliest price. Yeah, the price means it's going to be out from the first batch at 60. Yeah, so as we start, there's some opening inventory. We're not given any of the opening inventory balance. That means there was nothing in the, when we started, there was nothing in the opening inventory. Then on third, we purchased 400. Let me open up the calculator, and you're going to help me do the calculations as well. Okay, I want it to be interactive one. Yeah, at 400, on third, we purchased 400 units at 60. And what is going to be the value? Let me just calculate the value at the same time. 400 into 60, it was 24,000. Yeah. Yeah. If you speak, it would be better. 24,000 it is. 400 into 60 is 24,000, not 2,400. Okay. So there were no issues in the day. And what was the closing balances? There was no opening inventory. So at the end of the third, what is going to be the closing balance? It's going to be here. We're going to report it like in terms of units as well as in terms of value, since it's a typical store ledger control account. Bin card, there's only quantity mentioned in the bin card. However, in store ledger control account, it measures the quantity as well as the cost. It's kind of a typical store ledger control account based upon FIFO method. So we are going to go through it. Okay. So how many units? 400 units. And what is the value? It is going to be 24,000. Yeah. And we're doing the closing 400, and that the balance is 24,000. Now, after third, what is the date? It's 5th. And 5th, this was the purchase, right? Let's just mention it. This was the purchase, and now it's going to be the issue on third, on 5th. Yeah, the first date on 5th. It's going to be the issue. Okay. Now, issue. Nothing has been purchased on 5th. Now, FIFO method, we're doing it on the FIFO method on 5th, 200 units. Okay. So out of the 400 units, the issues every time, there are 4 material requisitions. Every time it's going to be for 200 tons. And on which date? 5th, 14, 22, and 27. And the purchasing are on date of 3rd, 11th, and 21. These are the purchases, and these are the issues. These are the purchases. Okay. So 200 at, since it's FIFO methods, and also, okay, if we had items in the opening inventory, since here there was no item in the opening inventory, and if, for example, if there was item in the opening inventory and it had a price of, for example, 200 units at 50, so, and if we were using FIFO method, the first item out would be from the opening inventory. Okay, because that would be the first one. So since here we'll just issue from the purchase of third, since there was no opening inventory at that day. So what was the total value? It was 12,000, cost of the issues. Yeah, in the end, from this column we'll be able to calculate the cost of issues. Okay, So 200, we value 200 at 60. What is left in the inventory? So out of 400, 200, so left, we are left with 200 at 60. That means 12,000 is there in the inventory. Okay. So we close the figure with 200 units and the balance value is 12,000. Okay. Now next date is, yes, tell me. It's 11th. On 11th, there is another purchase of 300 tons at 70 per ton, and the value is 21,000, right? There was no issue on that date, right? And now what is there in the closing inventory? Okay, what's the balance there? So we have 200 at 60, 12,000, and now we have 300 at 70, 21,000. Now the total items in the inventory is basically 500, and what is the total value? 21,000 plus
34,000.
12,000. It is 33,000. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what is the next date? Next date is 11th. After 11th, there's another issue. On which date? There's another issue on 14. How many
14.
units? Okay. Now, you will issue at 60 or you'll issue at 70. If it was LIFO method, we would have issued at 70, yeah? But now it's FIFO method. We will issue the price. Or we will issue the material we received first and at the same price. So it's going to be 200 at, so not here, not in this column. We purchased nothing here on this date. Issues were 200, and we're going to, it's five, since it's FIFO method, first in, first out. So we're going to issue it at 60, so it's going to be 12,000. Means this is out of the inventory now. See, this is out of the inventory. Now what is left? We are only left with 300 at 70, means we only have 21,000. So when we close, we have 300 units of the value 21,000. Okay, next date is 14th. After 14th, it's 21. 300 tons at 80. That's another purchase. On 21st, 300 tons at 80 means 24,000. There was no issue on that date. Yeah. What is the closing balance? Closing balance is we already have 300 at 70. Yeah. When you, that is going to be the opening inventory, right? And we also purchased on 21st 300 units, batch of 300 units at 80. So we also have that in the inventory, right? So we have 600 units worth total 45,000, right? And now the two consecutive issues, now all the purchases are done. Issues are on 22nd and 27th. 200 units, 22nd and 27th. Okay, next date is, now it's again the issue on 22nd and then another issue on 27th. Okay, no, we haven't purchased anything. Now the issue is the 200 units. Okay, now if it was LIFO, we would have issued on the latest price. Now since it's FIFO, so definitely we will issue at 70. Yeah, and it's going to be 14,000. Cost of issues is going to be 14,000, right? 300, 200 is out. How many units are left? 100 at 70. We still have from that batch of 70, we still have. We have nothing from the batch of 60. All have been issued, but we still have from the batch of 70, right? There, the value is 7,000, right? And we also have untouched. The latest inventory is untouched, right? So when the prices are rising, in case of FIFO method, the cost of issues is low, right? cost of issues is low means the profit would be up. Yeah, the profit would be more in case, but in case of rising prices, inflation, and if we're going to use LIFO, yeah, in case of LIFO, the cost would be up, the profit would be down. Got it? Yeah. So when we end up close this day, what do we have in the inventory? 400 units and worth 31,000, right? Next, another issue. It was on 27th, 200. Now we're going to issue it. Okay, 100. We're going to issue 100. We're going to issue at 70. Since we need to issue 200, and the next 100 we're going to issue at 80. So what is left in the inventory? Have a look at this. Is the cost of issues, means the cost of issues for the fourth issue, total 200 units. What is the cost? 7 plus 8 means it's 15,000, right? Just for this particular day. The rest of the day is 14,000, 12,000, and again it was 12,000. So what is left in the closing balance? What is left? Okay, this is gone, and from 301 has been issued. Now what is left in the inventory under FIFO method? 200 at 80. What is the value of the inventory? It is 16,000. So understood? So let's make a table here and start uh, reporting cost of issues. Since under each of the method, the cost of the issues and value of closing inventory would be different. We're just going to record it for each one of these methods we're going to use. FIFO method we just did. Now we're going to do LIFO, and then we're going to do weighted average, cumulative weighted average, and then periodic weighted average. So what is the cost of issues? Okay. Now just add up from this column, just add up all these figures. The 4 issues, 200, 200 each. Yeah. What is the cost of the issues? 12,000. Just add up this. 12,000 plus 12,000 plus 14,000 and plus 15,000. Just add up all. What are the cost of issues under FIFO method? $53,000. And what is the value of closing inventory under FIFO method? We have in the inventory, when the period end, in the inventory, at the end of the period, we have 200 units in the inventory at 80, means the value of inventory is 16,000. Value of inventory is 16,000. 53,000 and 16,000. So it is 53,000. The cost of issues and value of closing inventory is 16,000. Okay. Now, when we're going to do the same question under LIFO method, now tell me the cost of issues under LIFO method would be more or would be less? Because every time we'll be issuing the one on the latest price, and if the prices are is the case of the inflation, prices are rising, the cost of issues would be costly. Yeah. And what would be the situation of closing inventory? Would that be higher or lower? It would be higher. Why? It wouldn't be higher. No, it wouldn't be higher. Why? Because in LIFO method, when we are going to issue the pricey item first, what we are left in the inventory? The one with the least price. So least price means the inventory as in LIFO method as compared to FIFO method would be lower. In FIFO method, we issued since the prices are rising and we are issuing the inventory which we received first at the lowest price, right? And now, as you can see, what was left in the inventory was 280, the costly one. So the inventory, value of inventory under FIFO method would be higher than under LIFO method, because in LIFO we would be issuing 60 first, right? Then 70, and then we'll come to 60. So when we'll end up, they might be, it might be that we have we have 60 in the back in the inventory, left in the inventory, because we issued the pricey ones. So if 60 is going, the value of inventory would be lower. No? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's do this question. Bring it down. Let's do this under FIFO method. Again, we're going to make the same tables. Now you're going to help me, right? Now you know, first column of date, second column of purchases, third column for issues, and the fourth column is for closing balance or closing inventory, right? There was nothing in the opening inventory. It was 0. Yeah. And now we'll start from third. It was a purchase. Yeah. We bought 400 unit at 60, 24,000. There was nothing there. In closing inventory, we have 400 units at 60 and the value is 24,000. That's what we have. And now the next, third, fifth. There is an issue on fifth, right? There is an issue on fifth. And now which method we are using? It's LIFO method. On fifth. Okay, there was no purchases, 200 units. Okay, the first step is going to be the same. Yeah, if it would have been different had we had the opening inventory. So now it's again, we're going to, that's what we have, last and first, or that's what we have, the last item in the inventory, and we're going to, now what is left in the inventory? 200, 400, 200 have been issued, 200 at 60 means we have 12,000, right? Next is fifth. After fifth, there comes 11th. We purchased on 11th. Yeah. How many units? It was a batch of 300 units at 70, 21,000. There were no issues on there. Now, what we have in the inventory, and that was the closing inventory, it will be opening inventory now. Yeah. As we open 11th, right? We already have 200 at 60, means 12,000, right?
Yes.
Okay, and now we have 300 at 70, 21,000 as well, right? So we have 500 30 at 33,000 now. Okay, now it's going to be, after 11th, it comes 14th. That's an issue on 14th, right? On 14th. And which method it is? There were no purchases on that date. Okay, now it's LIFO method, last in, first out, and it was 200, and now we're going to issue 200 at 70 since it's LIFO method. Now this will make it more costly, right? Yeah. Had it was if it was a FIFO method, we should add 200 at 60. Yeah, the earliest price. Now we are issuing the latest price. Okay, so what would be the left? What would be left in the inventory would be the ones which we received earlier. Yeah, because we issue the latest inventory. So that's 14,000. So we already have, this is untouched. We already have that in the inventory. And now from 300, we have issued 200, but now we still have 100 units from that batch. Yeah, 7,000. And now it's 300. 12 plus 7. 19,000. Okay, next is we have 14th, 21st. Now we have purchases. And the date, it's 21st, 300 tons at 80, it's 24,000. No issues on that day. What do we have in the inventory? Okay, not like this. Okay. We have 200 at 60. We have 100 at 70. Now what else we have? Now the latest one, we bought 300. We also have that in the inventory. 300 at 80, and the first one would be out from this batch, right? And we have 24,000, right? So now we have 300, 400, 500, 600 units. Total value. It's not important to write the total value. Okay, you can ignore it. When you're doing the question, you may not do that. Yeah, but I'm just sure. So on next, 2 consecutive issues on 22nd and 20. Yeah, on 22 consecutive issues on 22nd and 27th of 200 each. So this is the situation. Now we have issues on 22nd. Okay, no purchases, 200 units. It's LIFO, 200 at 80. It's going to be 16,000. Okay, this is there. 200 at 60, it's right there. 12,000. 100 is as is. Okay, from 300 we issued 200, and now we still have 100. Right? 8,000. So we have 400 units. 27,000. Okay, now another issue on 27th. Yeah, now 200. So first we are going to issue 100. First, that's the issue column. First, we're going to issue 100 units at 80. The cost of issues would be 8,000, and then we're going to issue this one, not this one, right? 100 at 70, it's going to be 7,000. Total 15,000 cost of issues for 200 units. Yeah. So now what is left? Okay, this is gone, this is gone. Now we have 200 at 60. I told you the value of closing inventory under Lifo method would be lower, and it's 12,000. In Fifo method, we had 200 units at 80. Yeah, and the value of closing inventory was 16,000. Now have a look at cost of issues. Have a look at cost of issues. 12 plus 14 plus 16 plus 15. Yeah, we'll do that in the practice question. You just see what is left. If you are required to calculate the closing inventory, just write what you have left there, what you have left. Okay, whether after issuing the latest and the earliest price. I'm just going to show you that in the practice sessions. Okay, so Here, what is the total cost of issues under Lifo method? It is going to be, yeah, please tell me, total cost of issues. It's 12,000 plus 14,000 plus 6,000 plus 15,000. What it is? 57,000. Very good. Yeah. And now we will go back up. Okay. Now, under Lifo method, what are cost of issues? Cost of issues is 57,000 and cost of value of closing inventory is 12,000. Why? Because we are issuing, since it's rising prices, and we are issuing the latest inventory, the pricey one first, so cost would be high, and definitely the ones left behind are the ones which are at a less price. So definitely the value of closing inventory would be lower. Okay, next we are going to do the cumulative weighted average. In cumulative weighted average, how are we going to do that? Cumulative weighted average, in cumulative weighted average method, we neither just bring the question down. Okay, now we are going to do the cumulative weighted average methods. The two weighted average methods. One is the cumulative weighted average. As the word, from the word, it is cumulative weighted average. It explains what the method would be. And periodic weighted average. Now, how to calculate the issue price? So one thing for sure we know that it's not going to be the latest price or the oldest price. Okay, average. What is the average price? Average price is not basically not never the actual price. It's never the actual price. It's basically from the previous prices. We basically take the average prices, right? So cumulative weighted average. In cumulative weighted average, we every time there is a new delivery in store, a new delivery in store. And before every issue, we are going to calculate a running total of cost. We are going to calculate a running total of cost and running total of units, and then we will get to calculate a weighted average price. Now, what is a running total of cost and running total of? What would be before that issue, whatever would be the cumulative total of cost, okay, and cumulative total units. Based upon that, we will be calculating weighted average issue price. Okay, so means that the 3 times the delivery in store. Okay, so every time there's a new delivery in store, definitely the cumulative total of cost and units would be different. So before every issue, whenever there's a new delivery in store, we will be calculating a cumulative weighted average price, and then based upon that price we will be doing the issue. However, in periodic weighted average, we're going to calculate a weighted average price at the end of the period. After all the transactions are there, we have the running total of cost. Okay, so what is basically the running total of cost? It is basically the cost of opening inventory plus cost of units purchased. Yeah, that basically gives you the cumulative total of cost divided by units in opening inventory plus units purchased. Yeah, so how we are going to do that? Okay, sure, no problem. So how we are going to do that? The same question we are going to do, and then we're going to calculate using the weighted average method, cumulative weighted average. So every time there's a new delivery